Please rise. Pastor Aaron Cheney from Stanley Town Hall will start to lead us in the pledge, followed by, in the invocations, right, followed by the pledge.
First of all, I want to say thank y'all for having me. This place is beautiful, and I think y'all are wonderful. Y'all do a great job, and thank you for your leadership. Let's pray. Lord Jesus, thank you for every one of these council members, Lord. Thank you, Lord Jesus, for all that are in leadership position and authority. As the scripture teaches us to pray for those that are in authority, that we may lead a quiet and peaceable life in all godliness and honesty. God, we ask that your will be done, that you give peace and that you give wisdom, that you give discernment, God, that you give excellence through the leadership in this room. And God, let there be peace. And we just pray that all that is said and done will be done for the glory of Jesus Christ. Thank you again, Lord, for your goodness and your mercy and your grace. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We'll move to item 2, the council will review agenda, make any additions, deletions, or changes. Is there anything we need to change on the agenda? So do I have a motion to approve the agenda as presented this evening? Councilmember Kelly made the motion. Do I have a second? Councilmember Sweeney made the second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? We'll move on to item 3A. Do I have a motion to approve the regular council meeting minutes from July the 6th, 2026? Councilmember Hamilton made the motion. Do I have a second?
A second.
Councilmember Ms. Kelly made the second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, we'll move on to item 4A. We have a special presentation provided by ESP. If you would please step to the podium at this time.
Good evening, Mayor, Town Manager, Council. Thank you for the opportunity for us to present today. For ESP Associates, I'm Danny Watson. This is Carl Gigoero. And so we're going to go briefly through the slides here. All right, we provide professional engineering, surveying, and planning services. We stand for ESP stands for Engineering, Surveying, and Planning. So we provide those 3 services, and we have 2 locations in the Charlotte metro area, one in Fort Mill and one in Huntersville. Individual experience we'll be talking about today, town priorities, and potential partnerships and grant funding. ESP stretches across 5 firms: Pickett, Ditesco, Civil Corps, and recently purchased Killing Consulting Engineering and RAS. And between all of these 5 services, we provide our core services is planning, landscape architecture, civil engineering, transportation engineering, and multiple other service lines. There's water resources engineering, power and broadband services that a lot of firms do not provide around this area. Water, wastewater engineering, surveying, geospatial, geoenvironmental, construction phase services, project management, program management, and project management, construction management, airport engineering. Me personally, I'm from Lincoln area, grew up in the Lincoln area, and went to school at UC Charlotte, graduate alumni there, and been doing this about 31 years, and I have multiple on-call town engineering services for, like Lowell in the past, and Cramerton, as well as Monroe, Huntersville, and Union County, and Mecklenburg County. So I'm very familiar with the regulations in the area, and we would like to form services if it works for you guys in the future. We have close to 1,000 people now with the recent purchase of the two firms. We have over 30 offices that stretch across the nation that we need specialty services. We can tap into that. Go on to the next slide. We have over 220 licensed professionals that stretch across the industry here with our headquarters in the Charlotte metro area. We feel like we provide strong services in this area. Our markets include community development, emergency management, power, transportation, as I mentioned, broadband, municipal infrastructure, which is my strength crawls, and Augie's. Augie Wong with his came in. Water, wastewater, education, aviation, and these are the services I mentioned earlier. It gets in more detail, but you can see we provide all these services to all the communities in this area. Of course, Augie Wong, famous Augie, and me, Danny Watson, a little bit of my history I mentioned earlier, and Carl Gennaro. They don't want to introduce yourselves. Carl.
Good evening, thank you for your time this evening. I'm Carl Gennaro, I'm the Transportation Director for ESP from North Carolina. Transportation, really what that covers is anything on getting somebody from point A to point B, whether that's by bicycle, by feet power, skateboard, cars, bus, what have you. That all comes under my purview with ESP. I've been in the industry for longer than I want to admit, over 30 years, and I've done a lot of varied projects from small municipalities to large state DOTs. Worked on greenway projects all the way up to new alignment freeways. So there's a lot that I've seen. My background has been in NEPA, transportation planning type work, looking at feasibility studies. Is there a solution to this problem? What's the most cost-effective solution to this problem? Trying to take the puzzles out and figure out how to put it all together and then give it to the roadway engineer, so we'll fine tune it. I'm a crayon engineer. I don't like getting into world CAD and everything, but like I said, I've received some of the experience that I've had. I've also got a lot of experience doing locally administrated projects for municipalities, helping them navigate the NCDOT process. Making sure that they apply by all the rules and regulations that they have to so they don't jeopardize any of their funding in the future. A couple of projects I just want to highlight real quickly that ESP has completed. We've done some turn lanes, sidewalks. You know, a lot of municipalities, you'll see a lot of that either connecting sidewalk at different points or setting a turn lane because they see it back up in a certain way. When we look at it a little bit differently. We look at it in a three-dimensional model. We want to see what is underneath the ground. We have SU services, surface utilities engineering, or subsurface utility engineering, and we look at, okay, what are we going to hit? We don't want surprises once the contractor gets out there and starts looking at stuff. So we use these different models that we have to find out what the existing and proposed conditions are as we develop the projects. This is a roundabout. We start seeing a lot more roundabouts in the area over the last 10 years or so. Similar to the turn lane, we use corridor planning software, and it'll tell us, all right, we know what the roundabout radius is. This is what the vehicle speed is anticipated to be. Is that a safe movement? Do we need to have a large radius? Can we have a smaller radius? Is it large enough to handle the anticipated traffic that's going to be using the roundabout? So we want to try to answer all those questions before you get construction plans finalized, you let a project, and the contractor goes out there and starts scratching his head like, I don't know how we're going to do this. And all that. So we want to try to get all those questions answered beforehand. So.
This is a deeper dive for me. I have over 31 years' experience, a lot of it in the municipality side of the business. As I mentioned, I live and work locally, an office executive in the Huntersville office. I've served as town engineer representative for many of the towns in this area, including John Russell here. I recognize his name here. Also, my experience, I started out in construction. So I started out in construction, know how to build things, and then moved my way into design. So I've got experience cradle to grave type projects where we initiate, plan, work with staff at the town board approval, and then construction administration through construction completion. And we document very well and hold meetings, multiple meetings during construction with the team. We have a team approach, a partnership approach with the contractor and the town to get things done. And then we don't work on anything until town approval. So we take that seriously. We administrative do bids through the state construction office. We follow procedures through that. And we work with town on priorities. What are the priorities for the town? And we'll rate them and make sure it stays in order, stays under budget as well. So we consider that important. And so my experience with Cramerton was the downtown revitalization project. It was an abandoned parking lot. It was Sonic Lodge. I don't know if they were familiar with Cramerton back then. And there was nobody going there. And then we looked at it, so well, how can we improve that? So we worked with the town on options. We could have went with just asphalt parking lot. But there was street flooding, and you were getting flooded from the river, and you were getting localized flooding. And so how can we improve that? And also, with it outfall in the river, it's important for water quality, some water quality. And so also what are the avenues for funding that? And I worked with the town attorney, and we worked to get ARPA funding. And we researched the different avenues to get ARPA funding, and one of them is permeable pavers. So that's it's permeable interlocking concrete pavers actually. And you can, if you ever visit Cramerton, you'll see the sign there, and it describes the process we went through to get. We were successful in getting 100% funding, and we showed that the life of the pavement was far superior, 50 to 100 years versus asphalt. We replaced it at 20 years. So it had better long-term approaches. There's more cost up front, but it showed over a long-term economic analysis that it was much better. Plus, it was getting funded to ARPA stormwater funding. And the other piece of that, I may explain a lot about this project because I'm excited about explaining this project, but you do the testing, and I did multiple presentations. One in Minneapolis as a keynote speaker for Cramerton. They flew me up there in Minneapolis and did a presentation there. And then I did with APWA and multiple other ones how to get this funded, because a lot of private firms are going with this, but it's tougher to do publicly. So Myrtle Beach did this. We did a study at Myrtle Beach how they did it. And so we worked the specifications. We did complete through the state construction office, sent the paperwork to NCDEQ to get funded, and it was successfully funded and built. And you can see a lot of people park in there, invites a lot of people into the town, and it's full all the time. Versus before, it was abandoned, cracked pavement parking lot, deteriorating parking lot. Now it's revitalization project is clearly defined as a revitalization project. So that's an example of a project that I'm proud of. And Cornelius is the same way. We had what's called a fiber mat product for the asphalt. It's got fiberglass in it and showed it worked. We implemented in Cramerton, and Cornelius, my hometown now that I've been there 25 years, introduced it to them and managed the contract for them as well. And it worked. It's very successful. It saved a lot of money. Cracked asphalt that was not. There's alligator cracking. So typically you replace that with this fiber mat, which should do an overlay to save you replacing that. So we like to be innovative. So these are the innovative things that we do. Cornelius Hickory and Jim Street extensions, Charlotte sidewalk. I worked for City of Charlotte in early years as an inspector and construction engineer. So I got valuable experience. We use very small projects to big projects. We were able to grade for those and really helped my career, being on the construction side and applying that through my design and my engineering. And I think that's it. These other contracts, Kramer, Temple, Mecklenburg County, Charlotte, Kannapolis, Wesley Chapel. So those are some of the contracts I managed in the past. And I'll turn it over.
I think you got some.
Oh yeah, here's, talking so much I didn't present pictures. So some of these Cramerton pictures, we implemented the plaza with the shade sails. This is the parking lot. They like taking the canoes out on there. It's a restaurant that was in the Masonic Lodge. It was abandoned, and they came and renovated that, the owner. So there's a partnership because their parking lot's on the town property. So it was a really good partnership because the town uses the parking lot for all their other businesses and to get access to Goat Island. And so it was really, I think it was a real good success all around. All you.
Thank you. Hey, good evening. Thank you. My apologies. You would think that leaving 4:15 from Fort Mill, you'd be able to get in. So, speaking of traffic, right?
I keep this in business, so can't get too bad.
Thank you. So, my name is Augie Wong. I know probably some of you been here several years ago, did some work, and you see some of that in my slide here. But I guess I'm the 37 years experience with more than this guy. So my experience is in landscape architecture and urban design. I've done a lot of work, like I said, 37 years in both overseas and locally here. Done work in many states. My specialty is, in addition to urban design and redevelopment, but I also do design build or work with developers and also P3 projects. So bringing in developers and agency, municipal public agency, and developing and the designers and putting together a strategic plan to develop the downtown hall. And also lately, it's sports tourism is big in the Carolinas. As a soccer referee, that's kind of my passion. So every time when I see soccer, or at least they're talking about sports tourism, especially with soccer and baseball, I could drill down on some of the numbers and how you can make it work. So enough about recreational, but we were talking about our skill set here. So, like I said, we do a lot of design charrette projects, especially with downtown redevelopment. I'm currently working on a streetscape for Salisbury, which is going to be bid end of, I think in October, November. So it's about 6 blocks of Main Street redevelopment of that. And I just like to talk a little bit about the projects of my experience. Some of you probably have seen the on the website, the Town Stanley Master Plan. I know Mr. Denton has been involved heavily when he was the mayor, and he was also instrumental in getting that. So we also did the NCDOT bicycle and pedestrian planning grant as a result of the master plan. We actually submitted a grant for NCDOT, and this town, I think, got selected for that. Unfortunately, the little thing called COVID just hit, so everything was pretty much on a standstill. I finished a design for Matthews Station Streetscape, bridge aesthetic. I also do a lot of bridge design as a landscape architect. And you see that actually, if you drive 485, the Monroe bypass that Colin and I work, you see the design on the columns and all that. as a result of the work that we did together. So a lot of history in that. Cross Shoulder Trail, if you walk some of the Tybola, Matheson area, I helped design that with land design and Kimberly Horn on that one. Do a lot of transportation projects as well. So some of my local experience, probably some of you are familiar with that. I saw the lower left that you're trying to build that public park already, which is great. So those are some of the projects that some of you were involved. I know Mr. Denton was heavily involved in that. And the master plan is, I think it's a great, I think one of the critical, or at least the signature for Stanley is that tower right there. If we can get that and just make that, that would be, you could see that as a landmark. We also did the design guidelines. I think that started the zoning. I was working with Gaston, Lincoln County, NPO, helping them with some of that as a result of that design guidelines. And also got the images of what the Main Street would look like. And obviously the bottom two is what potentially a public park for the town. I think that's a great centrally located. And I have a few ideas of how we can get that on the ground and be able to do a ribbon cutting. So, town priorities. I think we talked about how to increase foot traffic downtown to help promote small businesses. We see that all the time. I work in small communities. I work a lot with 10,000 and below communities in the Midwest, going and helping them with pretty much the same issues. How do you get people into downtown safe? Traffic issues, how do you keep people to come back to the area and make that into a place that they used to be, grow up with. So same issues, just different places. Solutions are different based on how we are located, but pretty much how to get economic development into downtown. That's kind of number one. And I think the master plan that we had developed is kind of a blueprint or framework of how to get there from the street improvement itself, sidewalks, and then the facade improvement, and then the surrounding areas. How do you begin to stitch some of those vacant lands to make it more buildable and attractive for developers? Because I've been, times I've been driving here, I see the growth coming in from that into this area. It's a matter of time before people are coming in and grabbing what is, so we better have a plan to address that. Obviously, the wider sidewalks, accessible sidewalks in downtown is key on that one. And if you know Salisbury, there's the elevation for the street is very different, so we had to build several steps of different rises just to accommodate for that accessibility because of the main street. So same thing with Main Street here, in front of the museum, there's different heights and how we can address that. So, potential partners. We identified 3. We talked to the Gaston, Lincoln County MPO, and we discussed about what kind of opportunities for Town of Stanley. And we had a team meeting, and they were very excited about. They actually know about what's going on in the area, and said that the deadline for grants is already over. It's I think in May or June, but it says you can always be prepared for the next year. So McKenna Sturgis is a good contact, and I over there to do that. But it's mostly the grant will be for design, right-of-way, and construction activities. So it's basically from the street, curb to curb, if you will. And I've also contacted NCDOT. They have a new director. The previous director, where we got the grant, moved on to a different department. So I've been trying to get a Brandon to talk about what opportunities for safe streets for all. And also what are the grants for connectivity for bike, pedestrian, and so on and so forth. I think this is a prime area because we already have a plan, a master plan, that we could bring it up. You are far ahead than most of the towns that are still trying to figure out what they want to do. Main Street program is a really good program. I've been talking to Liz Barron. I think she said she talked to Heath before, and she was excited about bringing it back again. She's willing to sit down and discuss what kind of grants is out there that we could, the town could get. And now for them, their grant is from back of curb to front of the building. So anything that's on the street, pedestrian street, they can finance and they can provide grants. Outside of that, so if the public park, for instance, that has to be from somewhere else. And she suggested the North Carolina Parks and Rec Trust Fund. That could help build that opportunity for the public square. I call it public square. And I think that's obviously you could have a nice narrative of how to provide that, but I think that is, to me, is the catalyst for any kind of activities in downtown for that public space. With that, open for questions. Again, thank you for the opportunity. Yeah.
So, I saw the master plan, I mean, I've been looking at it, but is there anything y'all would change with that since it's been a while, or you looking at it?
Yeah, I think a couple of things. Obviously, it's been a while, right? Things change, both economy and market. Again, the ownership of the buildings on Main Street, right? So we have to go back to them and negotiate, or at least with the owners and say, okay, here's the plan. We're trying to build economic engine in this area, in this downtown. Here is an opportunity to do that. And most often, they are willing to work with you on that one. So that will be my first thing I want to change is try to get the facade improvement on that, open up the Main Street, bringing in more sort of side furnishers and getting some activity on Main Street.
Okay. And y'all will help facilitate that?
Yeah. Yeah.
Thanks.
Anything else?
Just to know, we do a lot of plan reviews, so a lot of all the towns in the area, whether it's King County, Monroe, Huntersville, when we do plan reviews, and we help establish a budget and charge the applicant up front through the municipality to do those reviews too. So,
We also had a bike ped plan, I think 4 or 5 years ago or something, and that was kind of in the works, but I don't know if you still have that.
I can look at that, but I think we would have to review and see if it meets the NCDOT, because we have to look at different grants application for that. Sometimes they just say, okay, what policy, safety, and all that kind of stuff that it's in the plan, so that we could take. Great that you have that, which means we don't have to start from scratch. We just have to lift up some of the stuff to get to that. And you have anything to add to that?
Just like we're always talking about like the different requirements of the grants. That's one of the things that we're really good at. Like I said, all the money you're going to get from an agency or a group, whatever, it's going to have strings attached. So you want to make sure that you're meeting all the requirements so you don't put that money at risk. So we like to try to make very clear from the beginning what are the timeframes we have to hit, what are the requirements we have to do, what does the review process look like, get all that mapped out at the very beginning of a project.
We do have somebody who does help with a grant application for different municipalities. One thing about grants is that there needs to be an administration of that grant itself. So, but those are all details that we can work through. So.
And we also have expertise in the broadband. I mentioned the fiber earlier, where we have companies in there that are ripping utilities up, putting the broadband, we establish and work with and the applicant pays up front, or the fiber company, and pays, we do the inspection and we do that.
Thank you for bringing that up, because we are currently working with Lancaster County,
And now,
doing their whole fiber, because challenges of, yeah, and then we just got the Fort Mill, because all this new technology with, the almighty AI is coming and trying to figure out how to do that, right? So the fiber, there's a lot of things going on fiber, so it's a whole, if you don't have the resources, it's a nightmare to do it.
really
So,
take
yeah.
care of the utilities.
Yes.
We get ahead of them, plan ahead, and we have construction administration, we have construction managers that get ahead of them, review the schedules, and we partner with contractor, the town, and make sure that it goes smooth. We even have ideas for contractors to improve their schedule and still watch out for gas lines, watch out for utilities, because that's the last thing you want is getting calls or utilities getting hit, knocking power out or gas or whatever. So we stay ahead of that. And
It's also good for planning, for whatever planning you have, both in terms of developers coming in or your own type of infrastructure improvements. You have all of that at your fingertips in a way. You could even go in and figure out, see it right in Google, in GIS. So anyways, that's a whole,
yeah, and that includes through construction or anything else, whether it's the streets, the inspection, and passing the streets. We sign off this down in here that it's accepted and built according to the plan, things of that nature. It's water, the sewer, the storm, all that. And there's things that, with Charlotte, Mecklenburg County, and now Monroe's doing it is CTDD, and review those reports, certified, uncertified, and we have a team that does that too. So we review those and from developers as part of their would be the pass the stormwater.
okay.
Yeah.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Apologies for my
Thank you.
dry throat.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Yeah, you too.
Okay, we'll move on to item 5, public comments. Citizens may address any topic and must state name and address prior to speaking and are limited to 3 minutes. Do you have anyone sign up to speak?
Yes, we do. We have, first is Jonathan Peterson.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Jonathan Peterson. I live at 202 Bennington Drive here in Stanley. The reason I wanted to speak to you tonight, to give you a little background, going back a couple of years ago, it was announced that the county would no longer be funding the Stanley Rescue Squad, and it would basically dissolve, and those services would be taken over by GEMS, the Gas and Emergency Medical Services. There were a lot of concerns in the community about that, about whether or not it would affect the quality and the response times when that happened. I did some investigating on my own and talked to a lot of people. I was assured that it did not affect those services. I took that at face value, and the issue kind of went away. Then last month at this meeting, someone brought the issue up again, expressed a concern that they had not seen a GEMS truck in the town in quite some while. So I decided on my own that I would reopen my investigation and do a little bit more investigating on my own to find out, is this a real issue or not? To that end, I posted a post up on Stanley Town Hall where I surfaced the issue. brought up what I thought questions were that needed to be answered. There were 29 replies. The vast majority of them had the same concerns that I did. Shortly after I posted that, I got a phone call from the town manager where he expressed a lot of frustration that I didn't come to him personally to discuss this issue. I didn't feel like I needed to do that. In my own opinion, I needed to find out from the rest of the community and make them aware of what I would see and sort of gauge how people felt about it. And Mr. Dent was not happy with that, obviously, and expressed that very vehemently. But I have a trust but verify mentality. It's not that I don't trust you folks, but I think it's, if I'm going to perform my due diligence, I need to investigate on my own, which I chose to do. When I went over what the issues were with Steve, I told him what the questions that were I had. He said he would look them up, and he assured me at the next meeting, which is today, that he would answer all my questions in that email. I don't know if he's prepared to do that today. Don't know if he's going to do it or not. I hope he will.
That's your 3 minutes.
What's that?
That's your 3 minutes. Your time is up.
Okay.
Do we have someone else signed up to speak?
I do have more to say if you're interested in hearing it.
Well, we have to be fair to what the rules are.
I understand that, but I think it's an important issue for everybody here.
Well, you can
I
speak.
think it would behoove you to listen, but if you choose not to,
You can sign up to speak at the next meeting if you want.
okay.
Thank you.
This is exactly the kind of stuff we should all be concerned about. We have an issue that we're not being allowed to talk about.
Mr. Peterson, will you please have a seat? Thank you, sir.
Yes, Madam Chair, the next citizen signed up to speak is John Fuente. Said that right.
Thank you, guys. John Fuentes, 300 Bennington Drive, Stanley. Unrecognizable. Unrecognizable. Unrecognizable is the word that comes to mind when I think about the current state of America. At 30 years of age, I often think back to my childhood in the late 90s and early 2000s, of a time where the United States felt totally different. Life felt real. Things in general felt benevolent, and you felt a certain sense of freedom granted by our founding fathers to live how you'd like. Today I'd like to speak on the use of plot cameras. Supporters of plot cameras, if there are any, claim that they're used for good and a great tool of law enforcement. They say plot cameras are used to enforce just laws. Well, who exactly decides what the laws will be? And that might sound crazy to some of you, but there was a time 6 years ago where you could be pulled over and arrested for leaving your house. During a certain period of time, COVID-19 made non-essential travel illegal. Quite literally, in the course of a few weeks, we saw our laws changed in front of us, and we were made to accept it. Once a nationwide surveillance network exists, it is impossible to limit how the government and future government might use it. These plot cameras were erected essentially overnight, typically when things are done quickly and almost exactly in the middle of the night. It is usually because the perpetrators have something to hide. I don't remember there being a vote on cameras that monitor your every move, because there was no vote. There was no vote towards being massively spied on, and furthermore, our money, taxpayers' money, was used. We paid for this, didn't vote on it, and our reward, a surveillance state. Also, keep in mind this data isn't just used by our police department. Everything captured is sent to a private company named Flock Safety. Who are these guys? Do we trust them? Well, I certainly don't trust their CEO, Garrett Langley. Garrett Langley doesn't have a Wikipedia page. Garrett Langley believes his life should remain private. Ironic. Whenever you have a group of elite people demanding you do one thing, while they do the complete opposite, those individuals are inherently bad. Lastly, there has been several charges brought against police officers lately for the alleged mishandling of flock cameras. Seth Elliott, a CMPD police officer, was arrested on July 29th on allegations of mishandling flock cameras. He told his buddy in Boone he ran a license plate to see if they were selling drugs to an undercover police officer. Elizabeth Snowman, a Mooresville police officer, was arrested after misuse of the cameras as well. She accessed a flock database 31 times, 29 of which were on duty to track her boyfriend's ex-wife. Additionally, 10 Mooresville police officers are under investigation over flock violations as well. Those who would give up essential liberty to purchase a little temporary safety deserve neither liberty nor safety. Benjamin Franklin.
Sorry, sir. Thank you.
Read the book, 1984.
Do we have anyone else other than Steve?
Yes, Madam Mayor, the next person scheduled to speak is Kevin McEwen.
It's Kevin McEwen. I live at 507 Durham Road. Been here for well over a decade. I grew up in Mount Holly. I've been here my whole life. Young man's right. Stuff's changed a lot, and you guys are at the helm of it, so we're just kind of at y'all's mercy right now. This flock stuff is scary. That's just wild. But I've been wanting to speak since February. I got a small business I run by myself, so I don't have a lot of time. Ms. Helms, you said something during the February ABC open meeting that just struck me. This literally hung on me since then to come and talk about this. You made a comment, there's something, I'm not exactly verbatim, but that instead of talking about the ABC board, we should have been talking about the grocery store situation. But what are we doing about our grocery store situation? Are you taking meetings with people? Are you guys drawing up legislation to try to get more business in town? I think the citizens of Stanley deserve at least a little bit of an answer to where, if that is a priority, what are we doing about it? What do we got going on, right? There's that huge building that just sits open. We all know the parking lot saga that just happened with that exact location. It could be more for the town. And right now, I think we all think it's just an eyesore, right? So that's that. The gym situation, please take that as seriously as you can. I know we got a lot on our plate, but that seems to be probably number one. Like that's a lot. I service a lot of elderly people in our community, and I talk to all of them while I'm cutting their grass. They're all very concerned. All my Stanley people are, at least. They are highly concerned about that. Next piece. I think anyone that is connected to Facebook reads what's going on in the town and what gets posted. And I think if it is the correct information, leaving any council member off of emails seems just wildly inappropriate. We need everybody to be on the same page. You guys are supposed to be working together as a group to get stuff done. And if one of our people doesn't have all the information, that's a mistake. I can't do my job without all my information. I would not expect any of you to do your jobs to the fullest without all the information you need, right? Like, we just have to be informed. And then I've heard a lot about savings lately, and I just don't know exactly if that word has been used correctly in the last while. If we got a lot of money through a grant, I don't know if it's exactly true to call it a savings if we never were going to spend that money in the first place. Having grants is amazing. All these grants are helping our community, and I think that's what it's for. But I don't think it's quite right to characterize that as a savings on the town if the town was never going to spend that money in the first place. Thanks, guys. Appreciate y'all.
Thank you. Director Finley?
Yes, our last, citizen is Marie McMabel or
McMail.
Thank you, I'm sorry.
You came a lot closer than most people. Marie McMail, 314 Moore Street, and I'm gonna try to get my stuff out, but I'm worried about my backyard because of the storm. I'm asking council to see what they can do to help me with a drainage ditch that's near South Buckoak and West Carpenter. A lot of the water from the town and wherever else goes down that ditch into the wooded area behind my house and into my backyard and my neighbor's backyard. From May 2016 through 2022, my yard never flooded, even during heavy downpours. That changed January 4th, 2023. Since then, my backyard and side yard have flooded 6 times. January 4th, 2023, April 7th, 2023, December 26th, 2023, January 9th, 2024, May 8th, 2024, and most recently, August 4th of this year. This isn't rain falling on my property or even the wooded area behind me. The water comes from the town streets, draining off the buildings, parking lots, runs down that ditch near South Buckoak and West Carpenter into, like I said, into the wooded area. At least 4 homes on my street have been affected from it. On May 11th, Mr. Jenkins, that's retired, and Mr. Hendricks came out after 3 of us reported flooding. Little came from that meeting. My neighbor Jenny across the street and I paid to have our yards regraded and worked on to protect our homes. I spent at least $7,375. That grading was finished spring 2024. In May 8th, water pushed up through a concrete cover for a drain under Moore Street between houses at 306 and 312 Moore Street and ran down the street, because of the blockage under the street. The town fixed that drain, and after all that, we had no flooding again until August 4th of this year. I emailed Mr. Denton August 5th, didn't hear from him. I replied the next day, and I think the next day after that, a town worker came out to look, but he said he couldn't do anything. That's where that ended. I'm not here to ask council to reimburse me or anything. Just, this water originates on town property and public right-of-way, and it floods yards, damages foundations, and threatens property values. It becomes a town infrastructure issue, and I have a picture of the drain where it's plugged again. My neighbor went through that area, and right where that drain is, and it goes under the city street, it's plugged. 2 years worth of debris and whatever else. I just need some help.
And Mayor, if you don't mind, I will say that I did respond to Ms. McNeil and another citizen telling her that Director Hendricks and I plan to come out on Thursday at 11 o'clock to investigate and see if we can find out what's going on and look into it.
This week on Thursday?
Correct, the day after tomorrow.
Okay, I didn't know that somebody was coming out. I had a town worker came out, said he couldn't really do anything, and he left.
Well, I would say, I did respond to Ms. McNeil and another citizen stating that we'll be out there at 11 o'clock. If you'd like to look it over with us and walk with us and kind of pinpoint where you're seeing the water come in and see if we can come to some type of resolution.
Okay, I appreciate
Sure.
that.
Director Finley, do we have anyone else signed up this week?
No, that was it.
All right, thank you. Now we move to department reports. Director Robinson is not here with us tonight. If you have any questions, please direct those to myself or Manager Denton. The planning report has been provided. Are there any questions for Director Finley? Director Finley, you have anything you'd like to add?
I guess, just for the sake of the public and council, I've been asked by a planning board member and some residents about the status of our tractor supply project. And just to provide an update, officially Tractor Supply has applied for a zoning permit, which was reviewed and approved by the Town of Stanley. Their next steps were to submit for applications for building permits and inspections, which we do not track. So that should be where they stand in the process of their project. But just wanted to give an update. I know that when things are approved, we hope to see movement on the site a little bit quicker sometimes than we do. But as far as I know, and to the best of my knowledge, that's still a green lighted project, and they should be in the building and inspections phase of the project right now.
Thank you.
Thank you.
The Public Works report has been provided. Any questions for Director Hendricks? Director Hendricks, do you have anything you'd like to add?
No, ma'am.
Thank you. The recreation report has been provided. Any questions for Director Dishman?
I have a statement.
Yes, sir.
Happy birthday. Thank you.
Yes, happy birthday. Director Dishman, did you want to add anything?
No.
The fire report has been provided. Any questions for Chief Hilton? Chief Hilton, do you have anything? The police report has been provided. Any questions for Chief Sherman? Chief Sherman, do you have anything?
No, ma'am.
We'll move on to item 7, which is the manager's report. Manager, do you have anything you'd like to add?
Yes, Madam Mayor, I do have a couple of things I want to discuss. Number one, I'm pleased to report that the Town of Stanley has officially been removed from the North Carolina LGC Union Assistance List. So as discussed by our auditors during the previous audit presentation, the town experienced delays in completion of biennial audits during the COVID pandemic. The auditors explained that they had fallen behind during that period, affecting several municipal clients, including the Town of Stanley. Our auditors also provided written correspondence to the state explaining that the town's audit was filed late through no fault of the town. Since that time, town staff has worked diligently with the North Carolina LGC and the Department of State Treasurer to bring all required audits current and address the state's requirements. With our audits now current and the town maintaining a strong financial position, Stanley's been removed from the Union Assistance List. This is an important accomplishment for the town and reflects a great deal of work behind the scenes. I especially want to recognize and thank Greg Robinson and our entire team for their persistence, professionalism, and commitment throughout the process. Their efforts helped ensure that the town remained focused on sound financial management and successfully reached this milestone. Great achievement. I also want to extend a sincere appreciation to Representative John Torbett and Senator Brad Overcash and members of the General Assembly for their support of the Town of Stanley for helping secure a $175,000 grant for our community building. I know that information has already been made public. We greatly appreciate their continued partnership and advocacy on behalf of the community. Lastly, I also want to state that at the July council meeting, Councilmember Sweeney reported receiving several calls regarding Gaston County Emergency Medical Services coverage within the Town of Stanley. Following those concerns, I contacted Gaston County directly to verify whether there had been any disruption or reduction in emergency medical services provided by the town. So the county confirmed that there had been no disruption in EMS service to Stanley. I'll repeat that again. I want to confirm that the county said that there's been no disruption in EMS service to the Town of Stanley. So for additional context, the average response time for Gaston County EMS calls within the Town of Stanley from January the 1st, 2026 to July 31st, 2026 was approximately 15 minutes. So it's important to understand that this figure represents an average response time. Gaston County EMS units are part of the county-wide emergency response system and dispatched based on call volume, unit availability, location, and the needs of the entire county, not just here in Stanley. So when an EMS unit is positioned in or near Stanley, response times can be considerably shorter. Conversely, if the closest available unit is responding from another area of the county, for example, Cherville or Bessemer City, that response time may be longer. So if they're stationed here in Stanley, they get a call in Stanley, it's probably going to be 2, 3, 4 minutes. If they're on the other side of the county, of course, it's going to take longer. Average response time from beginning of the year to the end of July, roughly 15 minutes and change. What's ironic, though, the same day that these concerns were raised by Councilmember Sweeney, I observed the Gaston County GEMS unit staged in the former Bilo parking lot in Stanley for an extended period of time. So individuals saying I haven't seen emergency medical response for that very same day it was brought up, they were right across the street for a period of time. So I'm not sure exactly who those calls are coming from, but, you know, I don't see how that's an accurate statement. Based on the information provided directly by Gaston County, there has been no interruption or reduction in EMS service through the town of Stanley. Staff will continue to communicate with Gaston County regarding emergency service coverage and response times to ensure that the council and our residents have accurate information. I do want to ask Chief Hilton though, doesn't our fire department run the same medical calls that Gaston County EMS runs?
Yes, we do. We respond to every medical call out of ambulance and dispatch team.
And what's your average response time for that?
From dispatch to our first trip down scene is 4 minutes or less. And we do carry most of the drugs and stuff that are on the ambulance on our fire truck.
Thank you, Chief. That's all I have in there.
All right, thank you. All right, now we'll move to item 8, council reports and comments. Any reports or comments from council?
I want to say something. So I was just going off of what several people have said, and I wanted to ask Director Hendricks. I think that off Moore, I feel like it was a couple of years ago, we put some riprap down there, like at the bottom of the double lanes and at Moore Street to help fix an issue. Is that near you? But you're across the street. Are you in the White House?
I'm in the second house,
Beside the white brick?
beside the white brick.
Okay. And if you're saying it's coming up from the road or from the?
What I was talking about was a drain that goes between my neighbor's house farther away from Park.
Okay. I think I was thinking of a different house.
Yeah.
Okay, I wonder if that would help, but that would be good that they have a meeting Thursday.
Well, my neighbor went back there and the drain is plugged.
Okay.
Like,
Hopefully
I
that.
didn't want him to go back there, he's in his 70s, but.
Okay. Well, hopefully Thursday that will get you fixed up. I walk through there a lot, so if you see me, just talk to me.
All right.
Okay. And then, I wanted to say, about the gym situation, I know that that is concerning, you know, especially if you have health issues or just to have, know that someone's around. But I put full faith in the fire department as well, and I have not one time, been concerned or worried about, the town not taking care of us as citizens. So, I mean, I've got a bunch of elderly that live around me. They have had, the EMS down there, and they've had really good, success rate with that. I haven't had anybody, having negative comments about it, so I'm just hoping that you guys can know that we're not gonna let anything, happen, on our watch. We already taken care of. We got backup, we got the fire department, we got the county gyms, so I trust that, and if y'all would too. I think the point, I know this is a meeting, but I'm just thinking the point of the thing with putting things on Stanley Town Hall. Stanley Town Hall is just like a really bad thing. It's really bad. So I don't think that it brings positivity and encouragement. I just don't see that at all. That's why I'm not on there anymore. So that's where I think my problem is with that. So I don't think it can really be solved from that. That's just my opinion. And then the grocery store issue that you brought up again, yes, that's something we constantly is a concern for us, and we are working on it. But if the business would come in here and inquire with us, I am 100% sure, say yes.
Can I ask a question?
I think so.
Wouldn't it be your position to go and
We're doing that, and we are doing that. We're doing that due diligence. But I also think that with these guys that were here tonight, that using them, helping us revitalize the downtown and doing a few things here and there. And you said something about if we're not going to use the savings, what's the point? And being excited about the grant, I guess.
No, I'm saying we've been labeling a lot of our spending as savings, but if we weren't going to spend the money in the first place,
Well, we
not
were.
savings.
Well, we would. We just haven't because we're not wanting to go into a lot of debt. So I think that's where a lot of people don't really know.
That's not.
Well, we would have to get a loan. So then we would have large payments and go into a lot of debt. So that's what we're trying not to do. So we would do the things, but we are waiting on the grant, which is now, we have that little push to get started to do these things. So that's what I'm.
No.
Okay.
That doesn't make sense.
Okay. Well, we want to do these things, we want to do these projects.
Of course.
Yes, but we don't want to go into debt. So, yes, we want to, and yes, we will, but no, we're not gonna, go into debt. So,
One last
let's do
question.
the grants first.
Would we have built and the only reason I know this number is just from what we've been talked about, without a $4 million grant, would we have built a $4 million police station?
That's a good question. I mean, we needed a police station.
True.
That's for sure, but that grant is specifically for that, so probably not.
Exactly.
That's just me. I don't even know. You just asked me that, and that's just my opinion. I don't know if that's the truth, but.
But if we were going to do a $4 million police station, and calling that a savings, it
But
seems.
now we have a state-of-the-art police station that's awesome and amazing, and get some wonderful things done there.
No,
Same
that's
with
not
community
the
building,
question.
Well, and we need savings. I mean, everybody has savings. You never know when your air conditioner will go out, or you'll have plumbing problems. So we have this money that we need to have in our account, so if anything happens, we have something to fall back on. So we're not borrowing money to do a sewer project. Hopefully we get that money and we can save that and build on that for when we do have an emergency. It's like an emergency fund, that savings. But grant money can only be used for the grant that it is acquired for.
Yes.
So none of that goes in our savings. Some people say we use it for other things, but we can't.
And I understand that 100%, what I'm saying is categorizing that as savings for the town is incorrect. We would not have spent that money, then we did not save any.
We would have spent it eventually on a police department. We're just not spending that much because we got that much for that police department. So yes, we would have spent it eventually. We need it. It's falling apart, So.
And I'll add to that, Mayor, to say a lot of the water and sewer infrastructure, we needed to spend that money. We would have had to go in debt to spend that money. So working hard with our state legislatures to secure close to $8 million in grant funding on money that we would have spent, that we needed to spend, saved the town a considerable amount of money.
I just want people to understand that we really are trying, and we have a lot going on. And y'all might not hear about a lot of things, but there are things being done on your behalf and behind the scenes that have to be done behind the scenes, and we're not going to sit here and give you updates every month. I had to learn that personally myself.
Well, Councilmember Hamlin, I'll also say, if anybody wants to see how much we saved just from that water and sewer infrastructure, run the town value of the money calculation, the $8 million at 6% over a 20-year time frame, calculate and see how much that saves the town.
Did you go over that last meeting?
Yeah, I did on the police department. Yeah, if you look at double that, you're looking at probably $500,000-600,000 on an annual basis over a 20-year
Yeah,
period.
how much we would have had to spend.
And that's money that we would have spent, that we need to borrow.
The town would have spent.
And when you go in debt like that, you're forced to either find revenue through additional billing or raise taxes. So it is a huge benefit to the town.
That wouldn't work, so.
No. And you've seen other municipalities get in that situation to where they borrowed money to do things they need to do, and they're forced to raise taxes.
And that's the last thing we do.
Exactly.
Ms. Helms,
Yes.
I can appreciate you're not being concerned about gems and emergency response times. But I think what we're concerned about is I understand you're comparing numbers for response times today to what it was a year ago. What I would want to know, and I think the bigger question is what is the response time now compared to when there was a standing rescue squad full-time down the street?
Mayor, I can address that. Mayor, I can address that.
Let me finish on
I can
my
address
point.
that.
Every time that there was an emergency in Stanley, and that truck was a mile away, we always were probably under 10 minutes. There was no 15, 20, 30 minutes from Bessemer City,
It's not accurate.
during which time
Mr. Peterson, you've not been
someone
recognized.
can die of a heart attack.
I'm sorry, you've not been recognized.
Yeah, that's not accurate, that's not accurate at all, that's still a county vehicle, that same vehicle that was at Stanley Rescue Squad could be pulled anywhere over the county.
Well, and we had nothing to do with Stanley Rescue being closed.
That was a county decision, and that same gym truck, that same emergency medical vehicle that was parked there can go all over the county. It can be pulled to Cherville, Gastonia, Dallas, Bessemer City, Cramerton, Ball, so incorrect information.
All right, we're gonna move on to item 9.
I have some comments, ma'am.
Oh, well, we've already done 15 comments, right?
Oh, we're on council.
Oh, I'm on council. I'm sorry.
I hope I still am.
I'm getting ahead of myself. Yes, sir, you go right ahead.
Just two things real quick. I was watching the county commissioners meeting. I noticed they had public comments after everything, after the new business. And I think we should readdress bringing that back on the table, and we should have our public comments after new business. I also know that they added a new policy that I think it was this last meeting of removing the requirement of individuals to ask or to give their address, citing it as a safety concern, because now everybody's information is now public knowledge to everybody. And in this case, women especially were afraid that people were coming to their homes. And yeah. And I can, this is what was at the County Board of Commissioners, and they agreed to get rid of that requirement. I think we should do.
Well, I think it's helpful as a council that you know if these people are in your ward, so that you could, follow up with them personally.
They could say what ward they're in. They could just say, hi, I'm Joe, whatever my name is, and I'm in Ward 14. We can put it on the agenda. Vote on it.
Yeah.
Just a suggestion I was going to put out there. And the other, I know we've all got that same email last night regarding flock cameras. And I was going to ask the question, does the town have a policy in place for auditing the flock safety systems?
She said, is there any policy in place for auditing?
Yeah, we normally audit those every quarter. We have 2 administrators for the block system, and we go in and monitor those.
Thank you, sir.
Anybody else have comments or questions? All right, I'll ask for a motion to adjourn tonight's meeting.